Sebastian Bach calls out Chris Jericho on Twitter once again, and Jericho lands a haymaker. Plus, System of a Down's Shavo Odagian speaks on why these guys still can't get it together and make an album. We got a lot to get to today. Stick with us. Good evening and welcome to Rockfeed. Thanks so much for joining us. If you're new here, please consider subscribing with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking news and updates. Tells YouTube you like us, they'll show our videos to more people. We've got a new interview with Shavo Odagian from System of a Down talking about that elusive new record. But before we get to that, I would like to share with you some more shit posting from Sebastian Bach, where he is taking once again another dig at Chris Jericho. If you're not familiar with the history of this, you can go back and watch some of my older videos on this topic. I have it linked in a card above. But basically what happened is Sebastian Bach was pointing out that he feels that Chris Jericho mimes to a tape or engages in lip syncing when he performs. And his comment was very dismissive of Chris Jericho, which naturally made Chris Jericho mad. He denied that he mimes to a tape, but he also said, man, I've only ever spoken highly of you during your career, and I considered you a friend. I'm not sure why you would dog me like this. I'm not quoting him, but that's the sentiment that he was expressing. So you have this situation where Sebastian Bach, he didn't like it. He was posting text messages he was sending to Jericho. He later deleted it. It was just a big, fat mess. And so Bach took a shot at Chris Jericho on Twitter where he posted a screenshot to Jericho's Fozzy Across America. And you had a Skid Row tour that was called Skids Across America. Maybe it was a wink and a nod to Skid Row, but it's important to note that when that tour occurred, Jericho was a big public fan of Sebastian Bach, and he was kind of, if this was a nod to it, it was under the context of being a fan. So Sebastian wrote, Fozzy Across America? Really? Are you effing serious? As much as you wish rock and roll was wrestling, rock and roll is not wrestling. In rock, you're supposed to think up your own shit. I love Van Halen, but I don't have a song called Running with the Devil. I love Judas Priest, but I don't have a song called Judas or Priest. Skids Across America. Check out this t-shirt that I designed in the year 1989. I remember how proud I was when I thought of this branding and how happy I was that the band liked it too. It never ends with the spring. So Jericho retweeted that message with a Wikipedia page to the German composer Johann Sebastian Bach, basically pointing out that Sebastian Bach didn't think up his own stage name. So it's like, look, if you're going to make fun of somebody, don't throw rocks at a glass house per se. And Sebastian, of course, you follow him on Twitter. This seems to be something that he does a lot. And yeah, again, he seems to have a difficult time getting along with people. And at some point when that happens enough, you've got to look inwardly at yourself. The smart people do that. So let's move on and let's talk about System of a Down. So Shavo Odagian has a new band called North Kingsley, and he also was asked during a recent interview while promoting that why the hell the band hasn't been able to make a new album. He spoke to Ernie Ball's Striking a Crowd podcast, and he says, I love System. I love the guys. They're my friends over anything. Even if I don't see them or talk to them for months, when we're on the phone, we're best friends. That's how I am with them. Nothing has gone down so terrible that we can never make music together again. That's why I'm always optimistic. And whenever I say that, it becomes headlines. Oh, Shavo is optimistic. Well, yeah, bro, I'm optimistic about a lot of things. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but the reason why I'm optimistic is because nothing has been done that can't be undone. It's not like someone said or did something that's end all. It's not like, God forbid, anyone's passed away. We're all still here. We can talk. We can still play. We're all still alive. He added to that sentiment that the members don't see eye to eye on how to make this record. He says, if we could just agree, if people weren't so adamant about their views, it would be nice if we could just back up a little and say, you know what, let's just do it, and I'll listen to you if you listen to me. Instead, it's like, I think it should be this way. No, I think it should be that way. Okay, well, that's not going to work because if you both, I don't know. It's a mixture of a lot of stuff that's happened, and it's kind of grew to a point where because of social media and because of this demand for the record, it's become taboo. It's become this thing like bigger than it should be. It's become this crazy thing. The new System record isn't happening. It's way too crazy, bro. Everyone is a little weird because Darren will post something from Scars and they'll rip him about the new System record. Serge will post something political. They'll rip him up and down about the new record. John does something. Where's the new record? I'm posting North Kingsley. Where's the new record? It's always there now. It became this thing where we're like, F this. It's going to make me say F the new record because there's so much demand for it. But the flip side is we should be honored that people still care about the new record. Back in 2018, it was Darren Malakian who accused Serge of not being invested in making the music. Basically, he said that he was sort of phoning it in. He wasn't interested in even making the last two albums with System of a Down. So there is this weird thing where System of a Down is constantly badgered about their inability to make music, and it probably is frustrating for them, but it's also frustrating for the fans because the reason these people follow these artists is mainly for System of a Down, and those side projects are fun, but they're not really side projects if your main band, which is what got you the followers to begin with, is sort of inactive. So I can see how that would be frustrating for both parties. And with Serge and Darren seemingly being the ones who have this feud, they're the ones who can't seem to agree. And, you know, I can see where Serge is coming from. Everyone should have a equal split in the band, and it would be a shame to have one of the greatest bands of all time fall by the wayside. Life is short over something so trivial. You know, how much is enough money? It's just, if you're in a band, maybe you should split it equally. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but if you guys have a good idea about this, let me know down in the comments below. All right, and let's take a couple quick questions before we get out of here. If you would like to call into the show, please click the link in the description, and it may be featured on a future episode. All right, let's listen to the first message.
Hello, this is Caleb from Oklahoma. Appreciate the content. It's always very in-depth, very nice to listen to, especially at a hard day's work. Anyway, my question was, do you think that record companies, as a result of this COVID-19 virus, are going to benefit the most? Do you think that record sales are going to increase, or do you think the opposite might happen? Do you think more people are going to stream? And do you think that this is going to, and how long do you think, if there is an increase in record sales, how long do you think that will continue? Thank you so much.
It's a great question. So I think we're far enough into this where we have enough of a data point to be able to tell that you're not going to see record sales themselves dramatically increase. I think you're also referring to streaming. Streaming is a tricky subject because a lot of established artists like to talk about streaming as if it's not really a valid source of income for the band. And that is not necessarily because the streaming services don't pay out billions of dollars every year to recording artists. That is because the money's going to the recording companies, and they have this strange thing where they don't really pass it on to the people who made the music. And I understand the finances of the recording industry, where they'll front the money for an album, they'll pay for it to be produced, and there's these expenses. But, 20 years later, after you made an album, you should start getting some streaming revenue, in my opinion. So I think that record companies, correct me if I'm wrong, they at least make hundreds of millions every year, but they probably make billions off of streaming alone. So I would say to you that it sort of hasn't really changed, but it's always been a monumental source of income for the record labels. Just unfortunately, it doesn't really go to the band. All right, we got Jeffrey here.
Question I have for you is, did you get to see Five Finger Death Punch's new video for Living the Dream, and what was your take on it?
Okay, yeah, so my take on it is I basically talked about this in a video a couple videos back. I broke down the video for people. We went through it. I think it's a politically charged video. I think it's certainly controversial, and it is one of those things where I can see how people thought it was telling people not to take masks because there's that scene where people take the masks off. I think it was more of an anti-authority message, and I think that they were pointing out that there are a lot of elected officials that, they have rules, they have these strict lockdowns, and they don't necessarily follow them themselves. There's been numerous examples of that, and I think Zoltan made that clear in a statement that he put out after I made that video. Of course, this video doesn't sit well with everyone. I understand that, and Five Finger Death Punch knows who their fans are, and I think they're perfectly happy with understanding that there's going to be haters out there. All right, folks. Again, if you'd like to leave a message for the show, you can click the link in the description of this video. Thank you so much. Always love hearing your opinions. If you're new here, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking news and updates. Take care.